Hello everyone and welcome to this video. Today is going to be a conclusion video, a conclusion and a recap to everything that we have learned regarding the historicity of the Exodus. Most people believe that the events of the Exodus happened either in the 19th dynasty or 20th dynasty of ancient Egypt. However, most historians and archaeologists argue that there's no historical evidence, no archaeological evidence to prove that the events of the Exodus happened within the 19th dynasty or 20th dynasty. Secular historians and archaeologists, they are correct to say that the events of the Exodus and the conquest of the land of Israel didn't take place either in the late Bronze Age or the early Iron Age, which is where the 19th and 20th dynasties took place. However, they are dead wrong to declare the Bible, and in particular the story of the Exodus, to be a work of mythology. They are dead wrong to declare the Exodus to be a work of mythology. The evidence which we have seen in the previous videos, they show that the events of the Exodus and the conquest of the land of Israel happened within the Middle Bronze Age during the 12th and 13th dynasties of ancient Egypt. According to Egyptologist David Rohl, Joseph was the vizier of Amenemhat III of the late 12th dynasty of ancient Egypt. During the reign of Amenemhat III, Egypt was devastated by a massive overflow of Nile River floods that destroyed all the crops, farmlands, and destroyed all the farm animals of Egypt. The famine was caused by an overflowing of the Nile River. Egyptian documents during this time name Amenemhat III's vizier as Aku. Aku was in charge of the Department of People's Giving and had grain storehouses called the granaries of Aku. According to Egyptologist David Rohl, Aku is the biblical Joseph and vice versa. There was a large population of people who originated from the Levant region living in the city of Avaris, which is located in the land of Goshen. The skeletal remains of the Levantine people, they point towards the east, and there are artifacts within the ruins of Avaris that show that they are of Levantine origins, not Egyptian origins. There are even skeletons of sheep within the ruins of Avaris, and based on the bone analysis, these skeletal remains of these sheep belong to the Awasi breed, which originates from the Levant region. Avaris actually dates back during the 12th and 13th dynasties of ancient Egypt. The Levantine people living in Avaris were also victims of slavery and oppression. Now, this is due to the fact that the bones show signs of malnutrition and the ratio of females is higher than males. There are also burials of infants, and the infant burials are much more higher compared to other ancient burials around the world. There is also a papyrus scroll called the Brooklyn Papyrus 35.1446, which has a list of slave names that are of Hebrew and Levantine origins. The papyrus scroll dates back during the reign of Sobekotep III. Therefore, Egyptologist David Rohl makes the argument that the pharaohs who oppressed the Israelites Israelites being the Levantine people, were Sobekotep III, Neferhotep I, Silhathor, and Sobekotep IV. The ancient Jewish historian Artabanus states that Kenophris raised Moses. Now, Kenophris is the Greek translation of the coronation name of Kenophere, which is the coronation name of Sobekotep IV. Therefore, Sobekotep IV was the adoptive father of Moses. The Pharaoh who witnessed the 10 plagues and was the Pharaoh who let the Israelites leave Egypt was Dudimos, who was the last Pharaoh of the 13th dynasty. The Ipuwer Papyrus dates back to the close of the 13th dynasty, which is an Egyptian account of the 10 plagues. The ancient historian Manetho or Manetho also recalls that towards the end of Dudimos' reign, the Hyksos invaded Egypt without much resistance from the Egyptians, due to the fact that the Egyptian army drowned in the Red Sea. The Israelites crossed the Red Sea from the Nuweiba beach to what is now the northwestern part of Saudi Arabia. And the real Mount Sinai is in Saudi Arabia, which is called Jabal el-Lawz. The Israelites, under the leadership of Joshua, conquered Eretz Yisrael, and the Middle Bronze Age ruins of Jericho show that the walls did collapse suddenly and show that the city was conquered. The evidence shows that the story of the Exodus was a true event that happened in history. So therefore, I would encourage all of you who are watching this video to share all of the videos regarding the historicity of the Exodus with your friends and families, because we are called by God to give a defense for the blessed hope that we have. And we are also called by God to sanctify people in the truth, for God's word is truth. For those who want to learn more about the historicity of the Exodus, I would encourage you to buy this documentary called Patterns of Evidence Exodus. Now, the link for this documentary will be in the description of this video. I would also encourage you to get this book by David Rohl called Exodus, Myth or History. Now, this book explains in immense details regarding the historical evidence for the events of the Exodus. The link for this book will also be in the description of this video. I would also encourage you to get this book by Joel Richardson called Mount Sinai in Arabia, The True Location Revealed. Now, in his book, he explains in immense details why the mountain of Jabal el-Lawz in Saudi Arabia is the real Mount Sinai. Towards the end of this video, there will be an English narration and a musical rendition of the Passover Prayer, Vehi Sheamda. Now, the Passover Prayer, Vehi Sheamda, reminds the Jewish people of God's promise to their forefathers. It reminds them that God's promise to their forefathers applies to them as well, for they have faced multiple enemies throughout their generations, seeking their annihilation. But even though this was the case, God has always rescued them from their enemies. He is their rescuer. Now, as you listen to the Passover prayer of Vehi Sheamda, I would encourage you to think of Bible verses and Bible passages relating to Israel and relating to God's promise to them. I would also encourage you to think of the historical evidence that we have talked about regarding the historicity of the Exodus. I would also encourage you to think not just of the historicity of the Exodus, but also think of Jewish history, how the Jews have faced multiple enemies, from the Egyptians to the Babylonians to the Romans and to the Nazi regime, and how they were in trouble, but even though this was the case, God has saved them from annihilation. So think about these things as you listen to the song and listen to the prayer, Vehi Sheamda. And this which is God's promise, stood for our forefathers, applies to us as well. For not just one adversary has stood against us to eradicate us. But in every generation they rise up in their attempt to obliterate us. But the Holy One, blessed be Him, rescues us from their grasp.
Vehi Sheamda לאבותינו, Vehi Sheamda לאבותינו ולנו, שלא אחד בלבד עמד עלינו לכלותנו, עמד עלינו לכלותנו. Vehi Sheamda לאבותינו, Vehi Sheamda לאבותינו ולנו, שלא אחד בלבד עמד עלינו לכלותנו, עמד עלינו לכלותנו. והקדוש ברוך הוא מצילנו, מצילנו מידם. והקדוש ברוך הוא מצילנו, מצילנו מידם. Vehi Sheamda לאבותינו ולנו, שלא אחד בלבד עמד עלינו לכלותנו, עמד עלינו לכלותנו. והקדוש ברוך הוא מצילנו, מצילנו מידם. והקדוש ברוך הוא מצילנו, מצילנו מידם. שלא אחד בלבד עמד עלינו לכלותנו, לכלותנו. והקדוש ברוך הוא מצילנו, הקדוש ברוך הוא מצילנו מידם.
והקדוש ברוך הוא מצילנו, מצילנו מידם. והקדוש ברוך הוא מצילנו, מצילנו מידם.
והקדוש ברוך הוא מצילנו, מצילנו מידם. והקדוש ברוך הוא מצילנו, מצילנו מידם.
Adonai